What's up, ladies? Today I'll be teaching you 6 different things that you can do to sort of start practicing witchcraft. And if you want to do witchcraft but you don't really know where to start, this is a good video to just guide you and to show you a few things that you should be doing when you first start. This is just in my opinion. Obviously, if you want to do more than this, or if you feel like you need to do something else, go ahead and do that. These are just 6 things that I chose that I'm going to be talking about in this video. If you would like to know anything specific that I say in this video, it's going to be in the description and also in the cards above, so you can watch my videos on more in depth of certain things that I'm talking to. And the first thing that I think beginner witches should do when they start practicing is starting a Grimoire or a Book of Shadows. Now, these are 2 separate things, but if you want to classify it as the same thing, then you can. It's basically just a book or some sort of collection of all the information and spells that you've used throughout your practice. Now, a Book of Shadows is more of just general everything, so if you're a beginner and you're just like learning different things, then you can organize it into a Book of Shadows, and then once you actually do the different spells or do the different routines and everything, and you want to have that in one particular place, you can have a Grimoire for that. If you would just like to have them be the same thing, then you can. But if you would like to separate it a bit more, so say if you practice multiple different types of witchcraft, or maybe you just want to separate out everything into your practice, you can have a Book of Shadows just to dump out everything that you've learned, and then once you organize it, then you can put it in a neater looking grimoire or something like that. There are multiple different stores online where you can buy your own grimoire, and you can even have some of them be custom. If you would like to go that route, then you can, or you can also make your own. There's also tutorials on how to make your own, but as long as you have something to preferably write down your information that you've learned, this is just a good thing to start off with. So whenever you're practicing, maybe 2 or 3 years later, you can look back on what you've learned in your first year, and your second year, and your third year, and just go like that, and have a bit more of a collection if you were to just learn things, done them once or twice, and then never use them again. Being able to look back on what has worked for you and what hasn't worked for you is a good way to help you learn what you need to do and what you need to focus on. And the second thing I recommend for beginner witches is to just find out what type of witch you are and how you can go about practicing that type of craft. Now, there are multiple different types of witchcraft and multiple different ways of doing everything in the practice, so just finding the basic subgroup that you would like to work with, and also the type of things that go into that practice. So say if you're a lunar witch and you want to know more about the moon and its effects and everything like that, you would want to research the phases of the moon. You would like to research when you should be doing certain things, because if you're a lunar witch, then everything is centered around the moon, so that would depend on the time of day and also the day of the month that you will be doing anything related to that practice. Now, obviously, everything that you do does not necessarily mean that you have to do it the particular way that you've seen it. If you're trying to do something and maybe it doesn't work for you, whatever way works with you and whatever way sticks with you is going to be the way that you try to do it. You don't have to necessarily follow someone else completely, and also you don't have to feel like if you're not doing everything the way that you see it, then you can't do it. This is a practice, and your intent in whatever you're trying to do is most important whenever you're trying to alter your reality. You don't have to practice a certain way to get the result that you're trying to do, as long as you're doing what you feel is right. And if you are called to do a certain thing in your practice, it's a good way to sort of follow the direction of your craft. If you feel that you should add something, go ahead and add it. If you feel you should say something while you're doing anything related to witchcraft, then go ahead and say it. Whatever you feel that either your spirits or whatever are trying to tell you to do, whatever you feel that you need to be doing, then go ahead and do it. This is a good way to not only test what you can do, but also to trust in your intention whenever you are doing any sort of practice. And number 3, now this sort of ties into number 2, and that is to learn the practice that you're trying to do. So say you're an elementalist and you want to learn about each of the elements and how to use each of their own personal abilities for your spells. What you're going to start doing is you're going to start small. So if you want to, say, learn the fire aspects, then you can learn that, say, in a month, and then the next month you learn the water, and then the earth, and you just do it every month. But if you just practice a little bit every day, then your outcome for whatever you're trying to do will be a lot more focused, because you're spending a lot more time and energy every day to sort of get to whatever you're trying to do. So if you want to use something for maybe a month or so, and then you want to try out something else, you can do that without feeling like you need to stick with it. Because you could be practicing something and maybe you not like it. So it's better to try out whatever you're trying to do rather than saying, okay, this is what I'm going to practice, I'm going to get everything for this, and just go all in on this. Because maybe you find out you don't like it, and then you sort of wasted your time and money with something that you weren't even going to stick with. So it's good to try and test your waters and sort of see what you can be doing with each individual thing, so that way you know, okay, if I don't like getting up at 3 in the morning to collect my moon water, maybe I don't use moon water. If you're someone that maybe has a hard time with doing things on certain days, or you maybe want a freer schedule, maybe don't choose a practice where you have to do things on a certain day, or it's recommended to do things on a certain day. If something doesn't connect with you, then you do not have to try and focus on it. If you're doing something and say you're not really feeling what you're doing, and maybe you feel like, maybe I could be doing something else, maybe I would enjoy that more, then go ahead. If you feel like you're bored with your practice and maybe you want to try out other practices, then you can do that. You can practice whatever you want, and if you feel like you need to practice multiple different things and learn about different things at the same time, then you're more than welcome to do that. Adding into that is you do not have to practice witchcraft 24/7. If you would like to just practice maybe one day a week, or maybe you feel like you don't really want to do this on a daily routine, then you can just practice whenever you feel that you seem fit. It's not something where you have to practice every day to be considered a witch. All you have to do to be considered a witch is practice witchcraft and say you're a witch. That's really all you need to do. If you want to practice once a month, once a week, once a day, then it's all up to you and on your schedule. Some people, they might not have the time to set out 3 hours of the day just practicing witchcraft. Some people have jobs and houses and other things that are gross and stuff. But for me, I have plenty of time to be practicing, and I'm going to use that time that I have to practice the way that I see fit. It's not really a good idea to waste your time with something that you don't really see working out, because then what you doing that for? Just practice something else. You don't have to stick with whatever you're doing. And number 4 is protection, cleansing, and charging. Now these are 3 things that I'm just going to lump into the same thing, just because I believe whenever you're doing any sort of practice, regardless of what type of witchcraft you're doing or what type of spell or ritual you're doing, these 3 things are going to be a constant, and these are things that I believe that you should be focusing on when you're first starting, and also when you're 2, 5, 16 years down the line. If you do these 3 things and you learn to hone in on your skills with whatever you're doing, any sort of spell or anything that you're trying to manifest is going to have a lot easier time coming to you if you can do these 3 things. I do have videos on everything that I'm mentioning also, so if you would like to know about protection, cleansing, or charging, then you can just click right here. But if you would like to know more in depth, then those videos are better for if you're just beginning. If you're fucking fly, stop it, bitch ass. If you're more seasoned into your witchcraft and maybe you're not really a beginner, those videos maybe aren't for you. But if you're a beginner and maybe you want to learn a bit more about witchcraft, then go ahead and check those videos out. And if you're there and you like my videos, then go ahead and subscribe. I'm also getting a bit more comments and a bit more requests to do spells. So I just want to say thank you for everyone that is supporting me on this channel. If you would like to support me directly, just click the links in the description, and then there are links to where you can support me directly and just help keep everything afloat on this channel. Also, if you have any tips for maybe beginner witches, or you just want to throw in your own tips, just leave those in the comments below. The ones that I see that are actually doing very well, I'm going to pin to the top so more people can see them. I just want to get the information out there and let people know that you don't have to practice a certain way to be a witch, and you can practice the way that you see fit. And I just want people to know that just because you practice differently does not mean that you can't be a witch. And the fifth thing for beginner witches is just to start small, but also sort of be consistent with your practice. This is not to say that if you only practice every so often, then you're not going to be as successful. This is just to say the more you do something and the more you practice and the more you actually use what you have and do everything, the more likely you are to not only succeed in whatever it is that you're trying to do, but also the more comfortable you'll feel with doing it. If you commit to doing something for 30 days and through that 30 days you make a promise to yourself that you are going to work on it for 30 days, you are going to learn a lot more in those 30 days than you would in a year if you were to just do it every so often. So this is just sort of a tip in itself, is to practice regularly whenever you can. This does not mean that you need to schedule out your practice and only do it on certain days. I'm not someone that likes to schedule things out, so if I feel I need to do something, I will do it then and there. But if you are someone that maybe has to slot your time in and have to be somewhere at a certain time, I would suggest that you schedule out some time to either practice or do some research. Even if you're not doing anything, like actually with any ingredients or anything, just doing research is a good way to not only get into the practice, but also to know what you actually need to get. Because a lot of things that maybe you feel you need to get, if you are a beginner and you don't really know what you need, just learning and doing the research to know what everything does is a lot better for you than just grabbing the ingredients and then just throwing it all together and just doing everything like that. It's a lot better for you to separate everything and sort of know, okay, today I'm just going to be doing research on this, and then tomorrow maybe I'll do a spell, and maybe on the weekend I'll do a bath ritual or something like that. Whatever type of research that you're doing is going to be helpful, because you're going to know, okay, if I want to do whatever this is, then this is what I need to research, so this is what I'll do. It's very simple, and you don't really need to really plan out everything. If you would like to, if you're a planner, then go ahead and do so. But if you feel that you want to do something, or maybe you're interested in something, go ahead and research it, see what you need, see what you need to do, see how other people are doing it. That's also a good thing. But just see how to do whatever it is that you're doing and see what you're going to need from it. And the last thing I'm going to be saying about this is, if you do not vibe with the type of witchcraft that you're trying to do, you are fully well able to just leave that practice. If you practice nature witchcraft and maybe you don't really like dealing with plants, or you don't like researching everything to know what that plant does, you don't have to do that. If you want to just have something and that's the only thing from that practice that you do, you are fully well able to. Whatever you feel that you need to do to help your day-to-day life, or just help you in general, is what you should be doing. You don't have to practice a certain thing and stick with it for years and never explore out of that range, or never practice other things. If you would like to practice a few at once, go ahead. If you would like to practice one type of witchcraft and then go on to another, then you can do that. But whatever you're trying to do, you just make sure it feels right with you. This is going to ensure that you're going to be sticking with your craft, and also ensure that you actually enjoy it too. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. These are just the things that I would suggest to beginner witches. Now, these aren't things that you necessarily need to do. These are just what I suggest for beginners. If you would like to know anything else about witchcraft or witchcraft related content, just check my channel, and there are multiple different videos, and I have playlists for multiple different types of witchcraft. So if you would like to know anything, then just... I'm going to be doing commissions on Instagram just because that seems to be the place that most people try to contact me. So if you would like to contact me on any of my other socials, go ahead and do so. But if you would like to contact me for a spell, then just check one of my socials and just message me, and I'll give you a price list and everything. So yeah, hope you're doing good during this time. Hope everything is going well with you. If you would like to tell me about how your life is, then just leave it in the comments below. I know a few people have been having a hard time during this last few months, so I hope you're doing well. Even if you aren't, then just tell me how you are. Maybe we can do something for you and just help you out. But yeah, have a good day and night life. Enjoy yourself and be happy.